Global volcanic activity raises concerns of 13 active volcanoes on the U.S. West Coast, and we know that one of them is a supervolcano, the Long Valley Caldera of California. And we do have a very strange activity happening again in Hawaii, Kilauea. Now, the eruption of the Hawaiian volcano has people worried, eyeing the volcano peaks on America's west coast as well. The west coast is home to an 800-mile chain of 13 volcanoes from Washington State Mount Baker to California's Lassen Peak. They include Mount St. Helens, whose spectacular 1980 eruption in the Pacific Northwest had victims and sent volcanic ash across the country, and massive Mount Rainier, which towers above the Seattle metro area. The peaks are part of the Ring of Fire volcanoes that sit on tectonic plates, and Hawaii is not part of the Ring of Fire. It's a hot spot. Now, looking at, I want to see what's happening in volcanoes Pacific Northwest, and I'll leave a link below for you for that. We have, as of today, as it stands, 92 earthquakes at Mount St. Helens in the past 30 days. Mount Rainier has had 26 earthquakes in the past 3 days. Newberry Volcano, 5 earthquakes. Mount Hood, 2, and Mount Baker, 1. But Mount St. Helens is 92 earthquakes in this past month. Now, there's lots of anxiety out there, says Liz Westby, geologist at the U.S. Geological Survey Cascades Volcano Observatory in Vancouver, Washington, in the shadow of Mount St. Helens. She said they see destruction and people get nervous. Of course, wouldn't you? Kilauea, Hawaii's big island, is threatened to, it's inflating, as we know, and it in the past has forced over 2,000 people to evacuate, and it destroyed 24 homes, threatening the geothermal plant there. And experts feared that the volcano could hurl ash and boulders the size of refrigerators into the air. But here are some key things to know. What is the Ring of Fire? Roughly 450 volcanoes make up this horseshoe-shaped belt, with Kilauea situated in the middle, and the belt follows the coasts of South America, North America, Eastern Asia, Australia, and New Zealand. It's known for frequent volcanic and seismic activity caused by the colliding of crustal plates. America's most dangerous volcanoes are all part of the Ring of Fire, and most are on the west coast, according to the U.S. Geological Survey. But besides Kilauea, they include Mount St. Helens and Mount Rainier in Washington, Mount Hood and South Sister in Oregon, and Mount Shasta and Lassen Peak Volcano Center in California. Images of lava flowing from the ground and homes going up in flames in Hawaii stoked unease among residents elsewhere along the Ring of Fire, but experts say an eruption on one section of the arc does not necessarily signal a danger to other parts of the Ring of Fire. Westby said these are isolated systems. When will the West Coast volcanoes erupt? No eruption seems imminent, experts say. The Cascade Volcano Observatory monitors volcanoes in the Pacific Northwest and posts weekly status reports. All currently register normal, but the situation can change. All our mountains are considered active, and geologically speaking, things seem to happen in the Northwest about every 100 years, said John Uford, preparedness manager for the Washington Emergency Management Division. He says it's an inexact timeline. Some geologists believe Mount St. Helens is the most likely to erupt, but 6 other Cascade volcanoes have been active in the past 300 years, including steam eruption at Mount Rainier and Glacial Peak, and a 1915 blast at Lassen Peak that destroyed nearby ranches. What kind of damage could they do? The Big Island scenes of rivers of lava snake through neighborhoods and sprouting fountains are unlikely in the Pacific Northwest. Lava is not the hazard per se, like in Hawaii, said Ian Lang, a retired University of Montana geologist professor. Cascade volcanoes produce a thicker, more viscous type of lava than Hawaiian volcanoes, so it does not run as far, Lang said. The Cascade volcanoes can produce huge clouds of choking ash and send deadly mudslides into rivers and streams. Two of the most potentially destructive are Mount St. Helens, north of Portland, Oregon metro area, and 14,000-foot Mount Rainier, which is visible from the cities of Seattle and Tacoma. Mount Rainier eruptions in the distant past have caused destruction as far west as Puget Sound, some 50 miles away. The volcano has not produced a significant eruption in the past 500 years, but it remains dangerous because of its great height, frequent earthquakes, active hydrothermal systems, it's got geysers in other words, and 26 glaciers, experts said. And that's Mount Rainier. Mount Rainier, we said, had, according to PNSN, 26 earthquakes in the past 30 days. Now, an eruption on Mount Rainier could rapidly melt glaciers, triggering huge mud flows called lahars that could reach the densely populated surrounding lowlands, Westby said. Another major danger from the Cascade volcano eruption would be large amounts of ash thrown into the air where it could foul aircraft engines. Now, what are communities doing to prepare for a volcanic eruption? The closest settlement to the West Coast volcano may be Government Camp or on Oregon's Mount Hood. Lava could conceivably reach the town, but the greater threat is an eruption triggering a so-called pyroclastic flow, which is a fast-moving cloud of hot ash and gas, experts say. But Lang believes California's Mount Shasta is the most dangerous, in part because it is surrounded by towns. The town of Mount Shasta has numerous response plans for emergencies, including a volcano eruption, Police Chief Parrish Cross said. But the plan for a volcano is pretty fluid, he said. We don't know the size or scope of the event, Cross said, including which direction the eruption would occur. This is not an issue in Ortig, Washington, about 20 miles west of Mount Rainier. Ortig would be directly in the path of a lahar, and local officials each year conduct drills in which children move from school to higher ground to escape the flow. Students usually take about 45 minutes to walk the 2 miles to higher ground, which should be fast enough to escape, officials said. Our concern is ice and snow melting rapidly on Mount Rainier. And said Chuck Morrison, a resident of the town of 7,600, who has long been involved in evacuation planning. He said, we need a quick way off the valley floor. Ortig is the town most vulnerable to lahar damage from Mount Rainier, according to the U.S. Geological Survey. Scientists say that in the worst case, a 30-foot high lahar with the consistency of wet concrete could rumble through Ortig at 50 miles an hour if volcanic activity suddenly melted snow and ice on Rainier. This is from Nicholas Yeranios on AP News, and it's on Bedded Reality. Please leave your comments, and thank you for your support. Please support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support, and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.